Tony Robbins' best line is people overestimate what they can do in a year, but underestimate what they can do in 10 years. You are thinking too short if you think you're gonna 10x your income in a matter of 12 months. You're not giving yourself the time and the grace to grow. Don't let your drive be your master. It's a tool to help you build your career. It is not the chains that you need to be bound by. Early on in my career, all I did was simply just work. Everything else was secondary. Priority was work. No relationships were a priority. No external hobbies were a priority. I used to play basketball through university, and then literally as soon as I started this, I stopped. Always stayed disciplined by going to the gym. That was always one thing, because I just always saw it as like, I gotta take care of my body. Nothing else was really a priority. No girls were a priority, like partying wasn't a priority. I finished university and I went like right into work. Some of my buddies were still in university, and like initially for the first few months I would like go down there and like go party, because you're kind of still holding on to that piece of your past. But as soon as I started kind of getting into the swing of work, I never really kind of had the desire to do that. I can't tell you the last time I clubbed. And it wasn't even like a sacrifice. It was just like, oh, well, this needs to be done. I feel like once you become that version of you to be like, you know what, this is the next me, it was easy. It was easy to focus on the North Star of working. Grew up in a very humble family. Finances were always very uncomfortable. You know, there was always quiet conversations of, well, we can't afford this, we can't do this. My dad's career, like he was an engineer back home, and then when we immigrated here, he was working a general labor job. You know, he would work 14, 16 hours. Eventually, what ended up happening was, you know, he was like, yo, this is too much. We need to find something else. And he opted to get his real estate license. And then they kind of started to hit their stride. They made a little bit of money, but still wasn't comfortable. Like it wasn't that they were very well off, but they were doing okay. I was the oldest. I saw my parents immigrate here and go through the struggle. This moment I remember. I was about 11 years old. So we were about a year in Canada. We went grocery shopping, we lined up to check out. My mom's credit card declined. I literally remember taking stuff out of the cart, putting, you know, that little cart in the front of the conveyor, and you're putting it there to be like, oh, we don't need this because we don't know. Things like that, like you don't realize it at that time, but they stick with you. When I started working, I saw my first paycheck, and it literally changed the way I saw money, because I was like, oh, I have a massive opportunity here to be financially free, so I don't know why I wouldn't take advantage of it, right? And this is me at 23. Once I saw that, and with the history that I come from, I decided that, you know what, this isn't an opportunity that I'm willing to just kind of let go or give a half-ass effort to. My focus was to dedicate all the time and energy that I had to that. The grind wasn't gruesome, like it wasn't forced. It wasn't like, oh, I gotta get up and go to work. I have to, I want to. This is something that makes sense at that time. When I was living at home, I felt like the responsibilities that I had of being an individual were kind of getting pampered. And I didn't like it. I didn't like that person of me. I had a goal. I was like, I want to move out. Parents weren't too happy. I mean, ideally in most immigrant households, you stay with the parents and you kind of grow from there. But I always wanted to move out. And as soon as I saw that check, I was like, oh, this is a great opportunity. Day-to-day grind was simply like, I didn't have the responsibility of like cooking, cleaning. Like I was fortunate enough where, you know, my mom wanted to do all of that, right? So I would get up usually around like 7-ish, I would say. That's the age where you don't need a lot of sleep, I find. So get up around 7 and, you know, shower, change, eat breakfast, and just head out by 8:30 and get into the branch by 9. Branch is usually open by 9. Like start the day and like attack it head on, whatever was necessary. And at that time, early on in your career, you're kind of spraying and praying still. You haven't refined your skills. You don't have a specific target just yet. You don't have a process. You're not as refined. So at that time, you're simply just, okay, there's an opportunity here. He wants me to go meet him across town. It's an hour drive. I don't care. I'll go do that. You want me to come meet you at 9 o'clock at your house while, you know, you guys are having dinner? No problem, I'll go do that. And it was okay. To me, the way I saw it is, there's no better use of my time than this anyway. Whether it's at 9 a.m. or 9 p.m., it doesn't matter. I'll go do it at any time. I had never been on vacation until I was 25 years old. My first ever vacation was sponsored by the bank I worked for. So I didn't really have to like pay for that. But as soon as I did that, I was like, wait, I can do this on my own? That drove me more to be like, well, I want to go see the world. I can afford to go see the world if I work hard. So it was those very basic materialistic goals. I was away to university. Although my parents were very supportive and they did financially support me throughout university, you still live like a student. And you don't know what you're missing if you've never experienced like a better life. Eating Uncle Ben's rice was okay. Eating that, $10 Sobeys chicken for 4 days was okay, right? Like, it was just okay. So once you get a taste of it, then you start to realize like, oh, all of this is possible. The focus became those things, right? So the intention of being independent drove I need to generate more income to live on my own. The intention of going to see the world came from, I need to make more money so I can go on vacations I want. I'm a car guy. I want to go buy myself a nice car. That was the culture that I was fed into. This is around like 2013, 14 time. At that time, social media was just growing to that hustle, motivational, that field was just kind of getting tapped into. There was obviously like the bigger thought leaders in there, but for the most part, like it wasn't everyone doing something like that, right? You would read a quote and like, yeah, I'm motivated, and like, let's go do that. And it was slowly being fed and creating this identity of like, well, you have to go do that. That's just what you do. But mind you, it was also the people that I was surrounded by. Banks are very number focused. It's always targets. You have to meet your numbers. You have to do profitability. Like, it's always focused on KPIs. To be surrounded by those people that are so entrenched in that culture of like hitting my goals, hitting my targets, you just get more and more motivated by those people. I was like, okay, if these middle-aged 40, 45-year-olds are working so hard and they have all these responsibilities of kids and family, why not me? I don't have any responsibility. It's just me. So that's what drove the hustle at that time. Some of the sacrifices that I had to make at that time were anything that didn't serve me had to go. Friends are going out or they're going away for a weekend somewhere. Sorry, can't come. Hey, we're going clubbing today. Can't come. Do you want to come hang out, play video games for a couple hours? No. Because it's okay, right? Like at 22, 23, like, yeah, that's what you do. It was almost an expectation, but like, I just didn't care for it. More often than not, it became work, gym, home, literally put on something on the TV, and I pass out. Wake up, repeat. My mentor at that time, proudly go up to her and I was like, yeah, I worked this Saturday. I had to work all day because it was a busy day and like everyone wanted to see me. And then she kind of looks at me, she's like, oh, what'd you do Sunday? I took that more as a challenge, but I give credit to my mentor because she knew how to get the best out of me at that time. She just kind of set this expectation of like, no one cares how many hours you're putting in. No one cares how hard you're working. You're doing it for yourself. So how much are you willing to do for yourself? Real estate market usually tends to kind of pick up in the beginning of the year. Things start to kind of move by February, March, April. A lot of action in the months of May and June. And then things start to kind of taper down towards the tail end of the summer because everyone's already moved. And then by the time October and November comes around, things are getting quieter. I mean, the month of December and January are fairly quiet. The hustle of like starting from the high of like, oh, things are busy, things are happening, I'm making money, and all of a sudden there's not as much happening. Start to question, am I still doing everything right? Am I still working hard? So you push. You push the issue, regardless of what the season of the market is, you push it. You're like, okay, well, I'm gonna reach out to these people. I'm gonna reach out to these people. It was December, and I called one of the business partners who used to refer business to me. I give him a call, and this is around like 12:30, 1 o'clock. I was like, hey, I just wanted to follow up on this client. You gave me a call last week. I didn't hear anything from them. I called them as well. What's going on? So this is before he even like kind of said anything else. He just kind of said hello, and then he goes, I'm still in bed. Can you give me a call back later? And I was like, what? It's the middle of the day. What do you mean you're still in bed? But then I go back to my mentor. I'm like, I called this guy, and like, he's still in bed. It's the middle of the day. She's like, yeah, it's the time of the year. I pushed the issue for many, many years. I refused to stop. I was like, okay, well, if he doesn't want to do it, I'm sure there's someone else doing business, so I'm gonna go chase that person. I didn't realize that would have an impact because I just glorified that as like me wanting to work harder. By the time I was like 28, I start to kind of feel like this, like, I need a break. And my mentor was really good at it. She's like, you need to go on vacation. And then even when I used to go on vacation, my phone would be on, still be semi-working. Sure, I'm on a beach, but be semi-working. And she goes, you need like a disconnect. You need to put your phone down, not answer any emails, and just take time away. And I refused. And I felt this lack of motivation at that age of like 28, where I'm like, I don't know if this is for me. And even though it was financially very lucrative, and it was literally hitting all the goals that I've set for myself. By that time I was a homeowner, was driving a nice car. It just didn't feel as fulfilling anymore. I didn't know why, and I like start to question. I was like, oh, maybe I'm getting lazy. Maybe this isn't like what I want to do. And you start to kind of have that conversation with yourself. And I really had to take a step back and go, I think I pushed myself too much. I think I need a break. But it's hard. If that's all you've been doing, you don't know what relaxing feels like. So sometimes you like hang out with your colleagues outside of business meetings and work-related events, but you still talk about work. You're not turning it off. That's not you going away from work. That's still a form of work because you're still connected to it. You're not disconnecting from it. At that point, I started to kind of prioritize other things. If I'm hanging out with my partner, I'm gonna hang out with her. If I'm hanging out with my friends, I'm gonna hang out with them. We're gonna try not to talk about the work. It's tough. It's a very tough pattern to break, and it's a very tough pattern to come out of. Acknowledging that you are burnt out and acknowledging that you are gonna do something about it requires just as much work to hustle. At that point, you are saying no to opportunities for the sake of your well-being. You keep hacking at every single opportunity you're getting, you're gonna start losing them because you're just not as sharp. What made me realize that this was burnout? Lack of energy, lack of motivation, lack of fulfillment. I used to be so excited when it used to be like, oh, doing this much volume this month and I'm gonna make this much money. It didn't feel satisfying. The money became less of a motivator. The goals became less clear. I used to think, I'm like, oh, maybe I just, I'm satisfied. But it wasn't satisfaction. It was burnout. You're constantly exhausted. You feel resentment towards what you do. It became a burden of what you do. The desire was less about financial freedom. I wanted those things, but they didn't feel achievable. You got exhausted from it because you're like, oh, I'm just on this hamster wheel. Then the question of fulfillment comes in, where it's like, okay, are those goals that you have for yourself, or did you hear them somewhere and they just felt cool and now you're chasing those? I had to have a conversation with myself of like, well, what is it that you really want out of life? What is it that will really fulfill you? That had to come from personal relationships. Fulfillment had to come from growing a family. The fulfillment had to come from building better relationships with my circle. Once I took a step back from working as much, this is when I was about 28. And mind you, it was also the season, so I took a step back in like January, February, didn't even do much in March. I felt a lot better because I had to kind of redefine those. I'm like, maybe I don't want that private jet. When you become detached from those material goals and you become more focused on your growth, it becomes easier to grind. Then the focus also became, okay, well, why am I just looking at these as numbers? At the end of the day, these are still people that I'm working with. So this shouldn't be the focus of, I need to do this many transactions. This should be more the focus of, I need to help people. I need to grow my business by building better relationships and actually helping people achieve their goals. Knowing what I know now, these are the 5 signs of burnout. The first one is the invisible finish line. It's never enough. You always kind of feel that, okay, I hit this target, now I need to hit this one. Now once I got to this level of income, now I need to hit the next level of income. You should have goals for sure, but make sure you learn to take a step back and be grateful for you achieving your goals and actually appreciating your work for you to be able to accomplish what you set out to do. When I was in university, my biggest goal at that time, I used to tell all my friends, like, hey, I don't want too much. And my line was, I want a house with a white picket fence, a nice car, and that's it. $100,000 salary was what I wanted. If the university me saw where I am today, I feel like he would think that I hit a lottery. The invisible finish line you'll never be able to chase it. I think it's the satisfaction that you need to be content with your achievements. Obviously, you need to set more goals ahead and you need to grow, but to constantly have that, okay, I hit this month, next month I need to do this, that's not something that's gonna help you prolong your career. You're gonna burn yourself up. And number 2 has been high targets. Similar to the invisible finish line, sometimes we set these impossible goals that we set for ourselves to say, you know what, this year I need to make 10 million when you've only done 1 in the year before. It's not to say that you shouldn't set big goals for yourself, but Tony Robbins' best line is people overestimate what they can do in a year, but underestimate what they can do in 10 years. You are thinking too short if you think you're gonna 10x your income in a matter of 12 months. You're not giving yourself the time and the grace to grow to that level. Setting yourself too high of targets will eventually lead to a burnout. And number 3, reactive living. Reactive living is when you're so fixated on just surviving the day-to-day. You're constantly, reacting to your phone calls, your emails, any crisis that needs your attention. You're not allowing yourself to give yourself a break. You're not searching for new opportunities that might motivate you. So it's important to be more actionable as opposed to being reactive. That comes with preparation. It's as simple as, you planning out your day the night before, or you planning out your week on a Sunday. And to me, I always try to take out, a couple hours on a Sunday to kind of just plan out what the next week is going to be. Towards the tail end of the month, I'll plan out what the next month is expected to be. Every rolling 12 months, I just have this ongoing goals that I literally update whenever I feel like it. It doesn't have to be every 12 months. It doesn't have to be on a month basis, but it's like, okay, in January I said I needed to do this, and I wanted to go on this vacation, or I needed to do this for my house. And now it's all of a sudden April. It doesn't have to be done, but I set that goal for myself and say, hey, where are we? Take an assessment of that goal that you set. Are we still on track, or is this something that we need to amend, or is this something that I need to focus on? So it's always more important to kind of prepare to avoid that reactive living, which kind of forces you to eventually burn out, because you're living on adrenaline. Like you're just, you're trying to survive. Your business shouldn't be about survival. It should be about growth. And number 4, cognitive static. Cognitive static is, simply put, it's your brain having 50 different tabs open at the same time. Sure, you made yourself lists and you decided that you needed to do this and your business requires this. And if you're trying to do too much at once, you're not doing anything good at once at all. Be goal oriented. Have yourself one goal. Say, okay, you know what? Today, these are the most pressing things. I need to do this. You're not going to conquer your whole business in a day. You're not going to conquer it in 365 days either. So try to be intentional about what needs to be done, what is a priority, what's an urgency. And as long as you have clarity on that, you'll hack away at it day by day, hour by hour. You don't need to do 50 different things, because if you're trying to do those 50 different things, you're not going to be able to get anything done. Last but not least, resentment. This, I think, is the biggest sign of burnout. When you start to resent your career, you start to question the choice of you picking that one specific career, or I was saying this myself throughout my career, where when I was burnt out, I kind of felt like I don't know if I made the right choice for a career. I don't know if this is the industry I want to be in. And the sooner you kind of evaluate where that's coming from, the sooner you can address it and you can avoid getting burnt out. It always felt like, oh, maybe I made the wrong choice because now it's really stressful. Maybe I made the wrong choice because I'm not as motivated anymore. All of those signs, that negative talk about your career, it's burnout. You feel all of those things because you haven't given yourself time to take a step back and actually assess why you're doing it. How going through burnout has changed the way I approach my day-to-day. I had to take an inventory of what's important to me and what is my main goal for doing all of this. What is the North Star? As long as you know your fulfillment, what the things that fulfill you and what your North Star is, you learn to be a little bit more kinder to yourself. You learn to be more grateful for your efforts. You constantly judge your progress more than other people don't even care to look at. We're so mean to ourselves. And I feel like you need to learn to be kinder to yourself for your accomplishments and what you've been able to achieve, just so that you can be a little bit more clear-headed and intentional about what you do on a day-to-day. The things that became important were relationships over action, was family over just superficial friendships. It wasn't money that I was chasing, it was security that I've been chasing, because my childhood trauma led me to chase this financial freedom dream, whereas it wasn't that. It was simply just the ability for me to go to a grocery store and pay for whatever I wanted to buy and not have to put anything out of my cart. Don't let your drive be your master. It's a tool to help you build your career. It is not the chains that you need to be bound by. Things like wanting more out of your life are not bad. But if those are the things that are taking you away from your intention and the things that fulfill you, I think you need to take a step back and reevaluate why you are doing the things that you are doing. You will never be burnt out when your purpose is outside of your selfish desires.